Hey everyone, welcome back. We got a fun podcast for you because basically there's not gargantuan news, so we're gonna talk a little bit about like the games we're playing, things going down, and whatever. First thing that I wanted to talk about, um, it's not Dragon Quest. It will be, but not yet. I wanted to actually check in because the PS5 Pro just hit, right? And I was very curious to see because it's hard to gauge interest in these things because especially with social media, people complain so much, right? Like they complain like it's unbelievable. So I was curious to see if we would have any indication of like how did this perform because it's a very expensive machine and I didn't like their strategy, right? We already talked about this how like I don't understand how they didn't show Grand Theft Auto 6. Like I don't get
Yeah,
why you would have shown other games and not like future games to be like, oh look how much better this is gonna be. And so anyway, whatever. Well, apparently I don't know anything because it actually is doing better than the PS4 Pro in the same time frame. But I will stress this to everybody: wait, because I have a feeling that it's going to slow down significantly in the coming weeks and months ahead until Grand Theft Auto comes out. I think once Grand Theft Auto comes out, I think you're going to see a huge spike, assuming it performs better, because there is no PC version of that for a while. So that means if you're really into GTA, like I could see that, if they're smart anyway, I could see that being their big thing. But I don't know about you, but I was surprised. I really didn't think it would. It's selling a bit better than the PS4 Pro did, and I'm surprised by that. I really thought this was gonna not do great. That's
yeah.
it.
Thinking of mid-cycle console, Microsoft made a
Yep.
thing about them. They said nope, it's not needed. So I guess there's going to be no midline Xbox console for. Those just fine. I kind of think they're kind of pointless, anyways, right?
Yeah. No. Look, honestly, it's sort of like it's. We've talked about this before. It's like a hyper niche, like subset of console gamers that are gonna support this, right? And I think Microsoft learned their lesson last time with the Xbox. What was it? The Xbox One X type thing. When like I think they realized, and I like what they actually said, where they were like, "Is it really worth the money?" Like the amount of money, the R&D, and not only that, but the cost to the consumer. Like is there because there's no way that you can do this cheap. It's sort of like on PC, like it is what it is, right? Like
It
your
is true.
graphics card is your graphics card. If you're going to go out today and buy the Nvidia, what is it, GeForce 4080 or 4090, like, good luck, man. You're going to be spending thousands of dollars. Like, it is. It's just. It is what it is. So, anyways, whatever. I don't know. I thought that was a little surprising. I told you that I had a conference that I went out to on. Well, I left Tuesday night. It was a Wednesday, Thursday. Got back Thursday evening. And of course, Thursday was Dragon Quest 3 2D HD or HD 2D, whatever the hell it's called, remake. And what did you think of the Steam stuff, man?
Oh, that was good. Good
Yeah,
news. It broke a record for its single-player Dragon Quest, the most concurrent. It was over 36,000, right? Something like that.
yeah, but dude,
It
it
was not
wasn't
bad.
Dragon Quest. It was Square Enix's most
Mhm.
successful Steam game, single player Steam
Single
game.
player, guys. It's not multiplayer.
Yeah, and very
Yeah, it's great to
surprised.
Yeah, very good to see because I told you that the exclusive. Well, we didn't talk about this so many, but the exclusive days are pretty much over, and Square knows this, and it's good to see at one of their quote unquote lesser franchises, in the sense of because everyone knows Final Fantasy's been their big RPG in the West, but I think Dragon Quest finally has its time to shine and
Well,
get the
dude,
spotlight.
I am shocked. Like as a long time old school Dragon
Oh,
Quest fan, I'm really surprised that this is happening. I'm thrilled. I'm really happy that we're seeing this, and I truly do hope this, this continues and people start to realize like this is a phenomenal series. And I'm really happy that they did this, because if you're going to introduce or like reintroduce people to Dragon Quest now, Dragon Quest 3 is a great way of doing that. And it is old school, so I've put in nearly 10 hours now into the game ish, probably like 8 or 9. And I can say that yeah, it's an NES RPG that's been completely upgraded for modern audiences. The audio-visual presentation's outstanding. The soundtrack is there's no more MIDI files, guys. Like, it's full on orchestrated music, voice acting for all the main. I didn't even know that there was voice acting in it, so that
that's
caught
good.
me.
That's good stuff like that. I love that.
Yeah.
And I remember some of the when on the Nintendo's YouTube channel when they had the launch trailer and people were saying comments like, "Wow, the gameplay looks fucking stupid. It's old," or and then people will respond back, "This is an 8-bit game, dumbass," stuff like that. So it's so fun. Yeah, there's so many idiots and trolls out there. They don't even know what they're talking about. Oh, the gameplay looks old. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's like you said, it's a 30, 40-year-old game. Come on."
Yeah, but dude, I'm really honestly, like, I am really surprised they did a damn good job with this, because like, you
Still
never know,
keeping it to
right?
its roots. How's the presentation of the story? Much better because
Well,
the
okay,
original really
so
did.
the story is, it's been fleshed out a bit compared to the original, just that, like, if you like, the emphasis is really on exploration. So Yuji Horii said that he was inspired by Breath of the Wild, so he used Breath of the Wild's kind of, you remember, like, in Breath of the Wild when you first like get out there and you see like mountains in the backdrop and you see all the, like, maybe like a little river and you see a little like whatever, and it kind of piques that human curiosity of like, what's just over the horizon. And and they succeeded big time here,
Nice.
because there's like elevations in the land, not really, but the way the camera kind of like pans as you move to give kind of that sort of sense that there's some elevation. And it's awesome because there's now these like sparkly little zones that will show up, and if you go up to those and touch them, you might get like three, seeds, strength seeds, or maybe like some medicinal stuff, or whatever. But because of that, almost every couple of seconds as you're walking by, you'll see a little sparkle somewhere. And
That's nice. I
it's
love
that,
that. Yeah,
it's
I
that
love that.
kind
Yeah.
of thing
It
where,
sounds like they did a great. I can't wait. I'm gonna once I finish Mario and Luigi. Thinking of which, I know some people say some of the reviews have been kind of mixed. I call it the performance issue, but I mean, it's a Switch. I mean, I'm pretty sure they could patch. I don't know how much they're going to patch. Just some slowdown, but nothing major. I don't think it's bad, but they say it's too easy. But like we were saying before, I don't think the series has ever been challenging. At least I don't remember. You did bring up the Square one, but that wasn't from the rest of the series has never been done by Square. So I mean, can you really include that? I guess you can, but it's yeah. I mean, most Nintendo games are not that difficult, guys. I mean, come on, think about it. Maybe Fire Emblem is a challenge, right?
well, I mean, they have challenge. Nintendo's thing is, it's easy to play and it's tough to
Hard to master.
master.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's always been their thing. I
So,
love
yeah.
the way you just like
But I would.
glanced over Dragon Quest. I barely even
Oh,
spoke
I'm sorry,
about
but
it.
yeah, my reason is I'll be playing it, but just not as because man, if I get all these games, they're just gonna sit there and wait and wait. So rather just get it and yeah, play it when because I am looking forward to playing it and experiencing it. So what are your highlights of it though? But
Well,
tell
that's
us
what
the
I was.
negatives though. There has to be negatives.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So like that was the thing. So I'm right now I'm playing it on the PS5 because I have the digital version. So I jumped in right
Has to
away.
be.
My collector's edition version of the Switch one. Well,
Oh,
actually,
okay.
it doesn't actually matter. But I ordered the Switch one. Probably will be in around this week. Probably later this week. You guys know me. I want my Dragon Quest swag. But yeah, no. So okay. So story wise, really nice that they added the voice acting and stuff like that. So it does draw you in more. They fleshed it out a little bit more so that if you explore, you're rewarded by having just a couple of little tidbits extra thrown in to help flesh things out. And from what I've heard, is it's the same thing for the rest of the series. Like there's a couple of breadcrumbs that they drop in there if you've played the rest of the series. I haven't experienced any of that yet, so I'll let you guys know. It is like the thing I have to stress is it is an NES or very old school RPG. Okay, like that. Everybody's got to understand what that means. So yes, you can modernize it, but there's random encounters. It would have been nice, in my opinion anyway, if they would have had a slider or something that you could have said off.
Oh yeah, that
Like
was.
anyways, it's
I
not
kind of
bad.
agree
It's
with
not.
you.
It's nowhere near the level. Nowhere near the level
The
of the
first.
of like the old school games where it was literally like three steps you had to
Yeah,
fight.
I remember. That's
You
one
know.
thing when I played the Dragon Quest one. It was annoying. You suddenly just want to go. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. Well,
Oh god, another battle.
yeah, that's it. And the reason why I say it would have been nice with a slider is not it's not because there's anything wrong with the combat. It's not about that. It's more about the exploration later on. So when you're like omega strong and you go back to the early areas where the monsters are basically slimes that are giving you like one EXP, you don't really want to fight those. So I would just take the slider, put it to off, and explore, right? Like those early areas. So that's one thing where, again, it's not game breaking. It's not, it's just it would have been nice. Zoom, they've now followed the tradition, and this I'm old, guys. All right, so I've been a fan of the series since day one. So there's certain traditions that I just have a preference for. Okay, like Zoom. So when you use Zoom, I like that you hit your head. Like if you're inside, I always like that because it's little things like that that make Dragon Quest. Like they're silly. They're silly little things. That's all been taken, like that's all gone now. So now
Oh,
if you use Zoom, you can use it anywhere. So for a quality of life, it's way more convenient, right? Because if you guys remember, you used to have to use evac in order to like leave one of the dungeons to get outside, and then you could use Zoom. So even though it's modern, right? I still find it kind of funny because evac is still in the game. So now I'm kind of like, well, what the hell's the point of evac? So there's some stuff like that. Combat is classic Dragon Quest. So 100% turn based. You can use your artificial intelligence. So that's new because as far as I remember, they sure as heck did not have that in the original. That started to come out. When did that actually start? That's a really good question. I don't know off the top of my head when tactics like was introduced into the series. Huh. I'd have to
oh,
check. I'm not sure if
yeah,
that was 7. I'm not, man, it's been a while. I don't
maybe they'll
actually
do a
remember.
remake of 7, or what about a modern update gameplay engine on 8? Because 8's considered
Okay,
one of
well,
the
we'll get,
highlights.
so
Yeah.
we'll get, okay,
Oh,
so,
we're
so
jumping the gun again,
tactics,
sir.
so tactics are in this one. It's the classic Dragon Quest tactics. So you can go like all out, you can conserve your magic, you can focus on healing, whatever you want. Or of course, shut it all off and you input all the commands yourself. Currently, I have just fight wisely on 3 of my characters, and I'm only controlling the main hero. And why am I doing that? I'm just testing it, to be really honest. Going through, seeing, and so far so good. Like it's pretty good. One weird anomaly I was just telling Cranberry about. It's a bizarre design choice that they did. So you have combat has 2 states to it, okay? Which is normal classic Dragon Quest fare. So state 1 is you input your commands. State 2 is they get acted upon. This is a classic, guys, it's been like this forever in turn-based RPGs. But here's where it's weird. Let's say like the round begins, so you input your commands, and then the round begins, so it goes into first person like the original games, which I'm very happy about, because if it was third person, you would have to watch all the animations, which would slow it down so much. And remember, you're fighting thousands of battles here, right? So you can speed it up if you use I think it's the left and right. You can go like normal, fast, ultra fast, but even ultra fast isn't that fast when it starts to go, when you start to really get more complex battles. So I do appreciate that it's in first person. Now here's this weird thing. So on the right hand side of the screen, you have your health and your magic, like you always have, like forever and ever. But it's so bizarre. Instead of it being a copy paste from the 2 states, so inputting your commands and then the first person, so third person, first person, whatever. In third person, you can see your status ailments or just your status. So you can see like, the hero is sleeping, someone else is silent, someone else is petrified, whatever. But when it goes to do the action, all those statuses, like the symbols, vanish and you're left with just the meters. And I thought that was really a bizarre choice to do. Like, why in the hell didn't you just keep the same thing? Because what ends up happening is, because you're in first person, you just have those 4 boxes of the health and the magic. If someone were to silence you in that round, your brain doesn't realize, because there's no status indicator saying that you've been silenced until you go to input your commands. But remember what I just said about the tactics, because if you're using tactics, it's kind of like tap tap, right? And then you immediately start to act again. And I did that. I caught myself multiple times going, crap, because I had to, like, I didn't realize that my character was sleeping, for example. So
that is kind of weird.
It's just it's a bizarre choice that I hope they patch in to just just copy it, guys. Like, it doesn't make any sense. That way the little icon that says you're sleeping just stays the whole duration of the battle. So that's one thing that I thought was just kind of weird. Another quality of life thing for you, Tim, that you really like. They now do what they do in Dragon Quest X, where they circle the area of where you have to go. Now you can shut this off. You can shut it off. I want everyone to know that. But it really helps. Like, really helps, especially for this being such an old school RPG. I can definitely see modern players playing with that. And that would really help, because you open up the world map, and the world map is great. You have multi-level, so you can zoom in, see what, where you want to go, what you got to do, whatever. But having that thing always pointing you in the right direction really, really helps. And yeah, I mean, I think that's where I am right now. I have a couple of nitpicks, like I said, on the PlayStation 5 that I'm playing on right now. You have the choice between graphics and frame rate, which I think, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, I understand it's an Unreal Engine game. I get it. But I still find it so weird that even in a game like this, you couldn't give us both. Like,
yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm looking at the post you posted earlier, the fountain. That's beautiful. Yeah, man, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe they can.
But anyway, whatever.
Patch it. I don't know.
I hope they
Minor
patch.
Things, though.
I hope they patch a couple of little things here and there. But look, honestly, overall, I'm thrilled that the game's
Yeah.
doing well. It's so far, it's absolutely excellent. I've heard that there's some nice post game content. So if you guys don't know, Dragon Quest is very much the type of game where you have half the game, you'll have like your main story, then you have what I often refer to as the calamity event. It's like the big something big happens. So you've played Dragon Quest 11, you remember with the tree, that was the
Yeah, yeah.
calamity event, right? Where the big, oh my gosh, and then you have the later portion of the game where it's usually like the big baddie gets revealed or whatever. And then when you finish that, you're typically left with, oh, I'm not done. And there's even more that you have to do at the end. There's 110 mini medals. So that I've got like 20 or something like that. Like there's this is a decent sized game. There's a monster tamer class. I haven't tried that yet. I'll try that when I unlock the boat to get to All Trades Abbey to switch my class. But here's the thing. Okay, so like right now, go buy the game, guys. Like you too, Tim.
Yeah.
Like when you're done, go check this out. This is totally worth it. It's fantastic.
Matter of fact, let's look at this.
But
You're talking.
here's the thing, and I'll be curious to hear your thoughts on this. So much like Mario, if you guys don't know this, so we had a little discussion last week about 3D Mario and 2D Mario, right? And you were saying how you weren't that impressed with Super Mario 64 when it came out because it like really changed the like kind of core gameplay. And with Dragon Quest, the series is split pretty much into two. If you don't know this, and I'm gonna talk about a couple of these things only because I mean this Dragon Quest game is going to introduce so many people to the series. So what are the two big differences? Well, the two big differences are you'll have story driven party members or not, and that's the big sort of thing. So if you have story driven party members, you typically do not have the ability to change classes. That's not always the case. That is not always the case because you can have, like in Dragon Quest 7, where you'll have the ability to change classes and stuff like that, but you'll also have some dedicated party members. It's just in that game, you had tons of party members that were swapping in and out and stuff like that. In Dragon Quest 3, Dragon Quest 9, Dragon Quest 10, you have nameless party members. So these are folks that will join your party through sort of almost like a rental thing. So think of it like you go down to a bar, you rent, or in this case, you create, whatever, a couple of different party members. They join your party. Then you unlock the All Trades Abbey. When you unlock that, it allows you to change their vocation. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, think of it like a job. So you can go between mage, martial artist, whatever, like a whole bunch of different ones. Now, because Dragon Quest splits like that, I've always had an affinity for the story driven party members. Think of Dragon Quest 8 and Dragon Quest 11. Those are what I'm talking about. And what do I mean? Well, you can't change your class. You're stuck in that one role that you're in for the duration of the game. You may have a skill tree that you can unlock different things like in Dragon Quest 11, but you can't become a whole new class. And I've always preferred those because the story is so good. Like you played 11, right? Every one of those characters at the end of the game you cared about.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're not nameless companions that are just with you. You care. Like they all have backstories, they all are fully fleshed out, and so that's a personal preference that has nothing to do with the quality of this game whatsoever. That's just me saying I've always had an affinity for the Dragon Quest games that gave you a party because you got to care about those characters in a deeper way than you do here, because only your character has a backstory. So the other three people in your team are just support, if you know what I mean. Like they don't have
That's
fleshed out.
that's what it was like in the original one, right? In the
Yeah, yeah,
NES
yeah,
days?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, for
Okay.
sure.
So
And that,
they didn't change it. That's,
no, no, yeah, exactly. And like I say, don't get me wrong. This is not a. This is just a Jared preference thing that I like that when they have those things, just because I find the story
yeah,
is
because it
deeper.
makes sense because you're helping these people and stuff like that, and you kind of want to know their back lore and their characters and stuff like that. So, oh, thinking of which, we're talking about NES. I'll tell you something cool about the Castlevania chapter for Dead by Daylight that finished the Dracula line. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, sure. I'll just wrap this up by just saying, like, absolutely fantastic. I really hope this continues to do well, because honestly, so far, just fantastic. Seriously, like, really, really, really fantastic. And it is, if this does well, like, really well, we might finally, for the first time in history, have like every Dragon Quest game come here. I mean, that'd be amazing. And
Oh, it would be, yeah.
to your point, Tim, I'm not going to talk about it. We can talk about this another day, but they're definitely going to have to figure something out, because if this does do well, like if this does really well, if this outsells Final Fantasy 16, for
Oh
example,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
then you can bet your butt that Square Enix will do everything in their power to give us the whole series, like easily accessible. And right now, outside of cell phone, it really isn't, like, because the 3DS is no longer, like, it's no longer there. So there's no easy way for brand new fans to like get into the series, especially if you're console or PC. You're limited in what what you're able to play. But anyways, go ahead, man. I've talked for long enough.
All right. So we all know that Castlevania came out for Dracula, or chapter came out for Dead by Daylight just about a month or two ago. They have tomes in there where you unlock like lore. They call them memories. So it's awesome that, well, the Trevor Belmont one isn't finished yet. You can't unlock everything yet. But this is kind of him meeting some of the characters that he building up to his fight. And you see the Dracula perspective, and it's awesome because it adds a bit of. It's basically Castlevania 3, guys, the story, and it's his perspective. Like Lisa's gone, his anger. Alucard tried to reason with his father. This is not what she wants. He just wants to destroy humans for what they did to. Because in the, I don't remember this in Castlevania 3. I mean, it's been years. But Lisa told Dracula that basically they're lovers. He said, "Don't mess humans. They're good at heart."
Yeah.
I don't remember if that was in the original game or not. But anyways, so Dracula agreed, but humans, of course, killed her because they hate Dracula. So he wants to have his revenge. And then so you meet the thief, the mage. So you meet all these characters and the Dracula thing right at the fight of what Castlevania 3 would be, with all the characters trying to beat him. So it's so awesome, man. It's almost like a prequel to Castlevania 3, and the connect, because remember, Castlevania 3 is probably by far one of my favorite Castlevania games. So it's so awesome to have that connection to, and the kind of built on the lore of a Castlevania 3 and Dead by Daylight, a game that you would never think would, right? And I can't wait for the Trevor Belmont's story arc to be done in the game as well once it's unlockable, but you have to wait, like, I think 11 days or something like that before you can start working on the rest. But yeah, it's so cool. So I was seeing all these fond memories of Castlevania. But I don't remember it really having much of a story, though, right? It didn't. It's just you going killing Castlevania.
Yeah.
You'd unlock the different characters, but it would be very minimal. So you didn't know all this, like Lisa.
No, I guarantee you that's taken from the animated series that they just did.
Oh, okay. Really? Okay. So Trevor was in the animated series, was he?
Was it Trevor?
I thought it was someone else, but we could be wrong. I could be
well, I just more meant that I see what you're talking the Lisa thing is kind of
okay.
that's the catalyst of that, and that I think has come into the lore. I'm just trying to think. like in Symphony of the Night with Richter, you're going and it's saying that was with Shaft and all that. Yeah, I don't think they. I don't know if I forget where that came from. It's part of the lore. It is a part of the lore, but I just don't remember when that was
Yeah, it definitely
introduced.
wasn't. All those backstory was definitely not in Castlevania 3. It has
No,
very
Castlevania
minimal
3.
dialogue.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
all you knew is Alucard was his son. That he, because you remember you fought Alucard, and then he kind of got on at the time. For remember, right, he was under his influence or something. You broke that, so he decided to help you to stop his father.
Mm.
No mention of any of that stuff. And then I don't remember Dracula really didn't say much when you fought him at the end, anyway. So, so it's really cool, man, because it just flushes out Castlevania 3, and it's so cool seeing the the events leading up to the ultimate fight with Dracula. So that was really well done. And I really enjoy that being a Castlevania 3 fan. So it's good.
Yeah, it's cool, man. That sounds pretty cool. I really hope it comes back, man. I hope it comes back. I want another Castlevania.
What about them making since remasters was such a thing? What about remastering 1, 2, 3 at the NES games, remastering them on modern systems? You think that'd ever be a thing or nah?
Well, I mean, the last time they did that was what? Rebirth?
Yeah.
On the Wii was the last time they did. I think that was guys, I might be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Rebirth was that of the original one. It was like a remake of the original one.
I know they recently just did a remake of Contra. You know that, right? Of a Contra game recently.
Well,
Contra 1 was redone.
What was the last one? What was the last Contra
It just
game? It just came out like
right?
last year. Operation Galuga.
I think that's it, and I think that's a remake of the original game, if I remember right.
I have no idea. Let's see. Operation Galuga, they don't even touch. Okay, perfect. A remake of the original game. There you go. Developed by Way Forward. There you go.
Yeah, Way Forward. They're excellent with the 2D.
Yeah. Those guys are really excellent.
They're one of the premier guys. Yeah, they do excellent work. So, yeah. So if you guys want a remake of the original,
but how did it do? I thought it wasn't great. Like I thought it was.
Yeah, well, it was too short, and people didn't think it would justify the. But you have to remember, it's an NES game. If they did a kind of a remaster of it, those games weren't really that long. They were just difficult, guys. Remember that, Jared?
Yeah.
They're hard as hell. But the games themselves were very, very small, not very, large scope. So, I mean, yeah, that's the thing, Jared. Is like these remasters. It's like I was reading some of the Steam comments about the new Dragon Quest what we're talking about. People are saying that the cost is too much for this type of game. It should be much less. So there's that argument, $59.99 for an NES game, essentially. Now, obviously, they put a lot of coding. It's a brand new engine, etc. It's not like they literally took the NES game and touched it up. So it is new in that regard. So I could understand. I personally think all remakes should be no more than $30, but as Steven would always say, the market dictates the cost. But yeah, Steven, people don't have a choice, right? But then again, if you don't have a choice, just don't buy the product. It flops and they lower their cost. So yeah, Steven is right. But I do agree that most remakes and remasters, honestly, especially when they're 2D, it's way easier for those type of graphics and visuals compared to 3D modeling. It takes a lot less work, even though AI is probably doing all of it now these days, or most of it. So yeah, I do agree that the cost is probably a little bit high, but that's not just for Dragon Quest. I mean, across all platforms. I think these remakes they're $59, $70. It's ridiculous, but
yeah, but
I
mean, I don't know. It's like it's a full new game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And for me, it's like literally it's an entirely new game because even the script was totally reworked, all voice acting, really full.
Nice. Yeah, you see, so there's a lot of production value went into it.
Yeah,
but I can see what they're saying though, man. It's like, to me, people think remakes are an old game, so when people still see old, it means it should be cheaper. So I can understand people's perspective. But anyways, yeah. But most of the reviews on Steam are very good, so that's good.
Yeah, and this is great. I mean, could you imagine, man? Could you imagine we get to a place where like Dragon Quest becomes one of like the big sellers in North America, if that ever happens, I'm going to lose my mind
Yeah, because you
because
said they blew their opportunity years ago, right? So
yeah, well, twice. Like there were two dark ages with Dragon Quest. One was when, and I still can't believe it, man, when they stopped basically after the NES, after Dragon Warrior 4, they were like, peace, dropped the mic, and they bounced. And then they did it again after Dragon Warrior 7. I love Dragon Warrior 7, by the way, because if you guys don't know, inside the manual says the remake to Dragon Warrior 4 coming soon. And then they closed the company. And so those two are what I refer to as like the dark age. There were two dark ages for Dragon Quest, and it's pretty cool to see. Like we had a little period there where I was getting nervous, but the fact that 11 did come to North America, giddy up, right? And now if, like I said, if this does better here than in Japan,
well, that's a far stretch, though, right?
it is a far stretch,
yeah, it's a far stretch.
but I'm just saying, if it does, like if it does well, okay, let's just say that if it does well, this could be really interesting, guys. This could be really, really interesting, and it would be, to me anyway, it would be the biggest smack in the face to Square because they keep saying all North Americans and Europeans don't want turn-based games. Like they want full action, they want full action. Well, if this, all I wanted to see is does it outperform Final Fantasy 16? Because if it does, then they can, it's over. Then their argument is dead.
There's some truth to that. Do North Americans and Europeans don't like turn-based? I don't know. Some of the RPGs do really well, right? I mean,
well, yeah, of course. And that's the thing. So
I don't know. I mean, turn-based combat is kind of, let's be honest, is kind of old and outdated. But it was it was a design, because you have to remember, like Dragon Warrior was inspired by D&D. Even the creator was a fan of it. And in Dungeons and Dragons is turn-based, so it makes sense why they wanted their RPGs to mimic that, right, in a digital format. But I mean, let's be honest. Combat. That's the thing, is like purist, man. They need to evolve. I mean, the Dragon Quest is Dragon Quest just because it's live action compared to turn based. It's still the same thing as long as it keeps the roots, the lore, the themes the same. It's like, you know, if you make a turn based Zelda, it's still going to be Zelda, even if it's turn based or not, right? Even though Zelda's an action RPG. But the point is, its combat doesn't define the genre, or the game. But some people disagree with that. They'd probably have a heart attack if they ever made a mainline Dragon Quest a action game. Your purist would have a huge fit, and it's like, really, guys? It doesn't matter. So,
well, I'm really looking forward to seeing the results of this. Like, I'm really,
yeah, I think it's going to do good. Yeah,
because dude, if this does well, this could get this could get really interesting.
Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure Cranberry has it. Cranberry, put in the comments what you think of the game. I know she's gonna love it. You know, Cranberry's old retro. She's a retro gamer. She loves the old school stuff. So,
well, her copy comes in on Monday.
Oh wow, she hasn't had. She bought the physical. Cranberry, why do you buy physical? Come on, there's absolutely no. Or is she importing it?
No. I'll let her tell you the story. It's all good.
Cranberry, I'm so disappointed.
Don't be disappointed.
So disappointed, Cranberry.
Oh, you're so funny.
She must be getting a collector's edition or something. Yeah, but there's no reason to buy physical. Oh, there's neat. I see sometimes in our comments about, physical's real. Yeah, come on. There's no reason to buy physical. Absolutely no reason to. Unless, of course, there's some kind of collector's edition where you get some awesome real life swag. I could see it, but other than that,
no, that's what I do for Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest, Zelda, those are my only two games now that I do. Well, especially Dragon Quest, just because like they have awesome collector's editions. Cranberry and I were talking about it the other day about how there will never be another Dragon Quest 11 ever. Like,
Really?
well, what
Why?
happened with Dragon Quest
Oh,
11? That will never, ever, 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 ever happen again. Where you had one box with a PS4
oh
and
yeah,
a
that's never had. No,
3DS game. Like,
no, you
that
never. No.
still to this day is one of my favorite things ever, because I think that is one of the coolest things that companies like put away their differences
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the fans and just said, you know what, go ahead, guys, like release it. That is the coolest like collector's edition I've ever bought, where you have a PS4 and a 3DS game. Like, it's so weird. It's so weird, but super
So
cool.
cool.
But
Oh, I'm thinking of.
we'll never get that again.
I think sorry. They did say some stuff about reinstating about how the smaller projects is how gaming is going to survive. The AAA stuff, not so much. We all kind of see that trend going now. It's just too. It's not sustainable, guys, with these large budgets. So Sony keeps saying that. So I think they're setting our expectations that they're not going to be releasing that many big AAA games. There always will be AAA guys, always, but just not as much as they used to be. And it's kind of good. Maybe they'll focus on quality instead of quantity. But anyways, we do have some next week on Xbox and Game Pass PC. So we have several releases. So these are coming for new games for November 18th to the 22nd. So next week, a few days, Monday. This one I'm really looking forward to. You guys, this has been an ongoing series from Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, Game Pass. I can't wait for that in pre. Matter of fact, I think I could pre-install it now. I don't see the point. I have fiber, so I always wait. But if anyone has slower connections, you can start download because it'd be a pretty big game. What's cool about it's going to feature career stuff, jobs, etc., like rescues and deliveries. Looks amazing. I can't wait for it. This is a game I've been really looking forward to. Stalker 2, Heart of Shinobi, Game Pass, etc. Day one release. It's included with your service. Can't wait. It's a sequel to the original Stalker. It's supposed to be this kind of, post-nuclear apocalyptic world. It has some kind of weird kind of elements in it too. Like, you just check it out. You won't be. But look at this. It won't be disappointing. The Genshin Impact is actually coming on Game Pass. That's an old game. It's finally making its way. So if you guys love that, it's probably a little bit too late. Then there's Sprawl. I'm not sure what that game is. And then Galaxy Kingdoms as well. And then last but not least, Peace of Mind. Not too sure what those last couple are, but I'm pretty sure they're good. And then there's a nice little link on Twitter, stuff like that. If you guys want to, Jared will probably put it in the description in case you're going to want to look at the games in more detail. But Flight Simulator and Stalker 2, those are the ones I'm definitely going to check out. The other two, the Galaxy Kingdom and the Peace of Mind, I'll probably check those out as well. But yeah, good time to be Xbox or Game Pass subscriptions right now, guys, because getting a lot of great stuff. And then Indiana Jones is right around the corner. I know that you saw the trailer I showed you, man, the extended game. That it looks so awesome, dude.
Yeah,
it looks like it's going to be such a great adventure, kind of Tomb Raider type game. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before, but like it's not an action adventure, guys. It's an adventure action, meaning it's more puzzle solving and that kind of stuff.
And that's cool. I love it.
Yeah, no, me too.
And then you saw that Indy gets perks, so you could kind of customize a build for him, like if you want to be more of a brawler or more of this and that. So that's kind of cool too. You unlock it, and he gets like a little book and that traits. Yeah, I can't wait. So I know the debate about single player games have been multiplayer. I mean, multiplayer games are great and all, but single player games still could deliver stuff that the multiplayers traditionally can't in terms of story and campaign and adventures. So yeah, no knock on either one of them, but obviously they're different type of games. But yeah, I know the whole debate about single player games, no one wants them. I don't think that's true.
No, obviously that's not true. We're talking about a Dragon Quest game that's shattering records right now, it's obviously.
I think it's companies like the multiplayer or live service because that's a sustainable income. Because like Dragon Quest Remake, it's going to peak and then it's just going to go on decline in sales, and it'll never fluctuate back up. But it'll be a steady flow for years. But it'll never make like a continuous. Look at I told you that we talk about Pokemon Pocket over almost 33.7 million in 1 week. Think about it. And then weeks going forward, it'll just continue to get that kind of revenue.
Mhm.
And you can't get that with it's single player games. It's a big, huge release. Bam, they make their money, and then it's just after that it tapers out. But it is what it is. I'm just glad Dragon Quest is doing extremely well. I'm looking forward to playing it myself. But yeah, Flight Simulator and Stalker 2 is going to be two. I don't know if there's any multiplayer Flight Simulator games. You guys in comments could let me know, because I haven't played that for a long, long time, nor the recent ones. But there might be, but who cares? To me, those are type of games that are more single player focused to me, because I don't really think multiplayer. What are you gonna do? You and I are gonna be co-pilots, Jared? Come on, dude.
That'd be hilarious. You're just sitting there.
That'd be funny. Hey, Jared. See him fly by in those little set now or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Impact game. It's not my cup of tea. Even though I hear it's really good, you know me, I'm just not a fan of its visual styles. The anime, can't stand them, dude. Makes my eyes bleed. I've never been an anime fan. That's why I like with the remake with Square, because obviously that's one thing. The turnoffs, even though I played Dragon Quest 11, loved it. Its visual styles are just so effing goofy and silly. I'm like, oh my god. To me, it would be so much better if it was more realistic and presented. But it's one thing I love about their 2D half crap is it's anime inspired, or you could tell, but its visuals are unique and beautiful, and I appreciate that much more than the flamboyant craziness that the mainline visuals are.
I love the way he says the mainline. It is a mainline one.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But you agree though that those visuals are much more pleasing, right?
Wait, it's not about agreeing. It's aesthetic. Like Toriyama's art was.
Oh yeah, no disrespect for him. People love it, and anime's huge, and manga's huge. It's just not never been a fan.
So that's it. Yeah. So it's there's nothing to agree with.
Yeah, I'm not disrespecting. It's just it's just I can't stand it, man. It's just not my thing. When I look at art, I like the Renaissance classic, that realistic, ultra realistic art. That's what I love. I mean, I don't mind some cartoony stuff when it's done right. I mean, Bugs Bunny, obviously, I grew up on that, but that doesn't need to be ultra realistic. But my thing is, like, I love realistic, like the DC animated series, DC, comics. They do an excellent job with their animated, vastly superior to their live action. But I think their art looks cheap. Now, I don't think that's anime per se, but it's cheap. It's not. You could tell it's low budget, and I don't like that. I love like your Alex. You remember Alex Ross? Those type of visuals, those realistic. You remember Kingdom Come? How beautiful that looked.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now.
Tell me that wasn't.
I'll tell you right now. Prepare for cell shaded graphics and anime in Dragon Quest 12. I guarantee you.
Oh, really? You think they're not going to go more realistic?
Well, no, of course not. It's an anime series, man.
You're right. I'll still buy it, guys. I'll still play it. I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy the story. I like I said, 11 was a really good game, but yeah.
Well, I am so curious to see what 12 does with what we just talked about, right? Like,
well,
is it going to be?
Comes out, man.
I know, and that's the whole
there's
thing.
Been no news. This is like you said, it's unheard of and unlikely. I don't know what's going on. Maybe next year is going to be the big thing, but
I don't think so. I think it's going to be now that this has again, let's all calm down. We don't have sales figures or anything there. It's great for Steam. That's wonderful. And I mean, if it's doing really well on Steam, I'm pretty damn sure it's doing really well everywhere else.
Oh, well, it's doing great on Switch, dude, hands down.
There's one way of checking, which is what I do. You go into the store and look at the top selling games, and if you see it there, well then
how fast do they refresh that though?
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
If it came out today, it probably wouldn't affect them. But yeah, I can't wait.
So
what about those Game Pass stuff, man? Are you gonna check any of them out?
Well, Indie, I already have. It's already downloaded. I'm
talking about the ones that are coming out next week.
Yeah, have we met,
Jared?
Have we met,
Jared?
I don't think we've met.
Oh, Jared, guys, him and his excuses.
Yeah, excuses. No, I waited.
Yeah, I know.
Almost.
You have limited time.
Wait a second.
Limited time.
When did this? Hold on. Dragon Quest 3. What is it? 2D HD remake announcement. When was this announced?
It's been a while, man.
Yeah, was it 4 years or like?
No, it hasn't been that long, has it? At least,
It was
a year or two.
announced. Hold on. Dragon Quest 12 announcement. It was the same time. It was the exact same video. Okay, Dragon Quest
You're right,
12,
it
The Flames
was.
of Fate, was announced on May 27th, 2021.
Oh my! Wow, guys, how time flies! I remember it was at the same time, and
Yeah.
everyone was so hyped.
So it's
So at
3
least we got
years.
one game for that announcement's actually been released. Where's the other? I hope that the 12 doesn't. It could be years before we see it. 2, 3
Well,
years
dude,
from now.
it also depends, right? Like what I was talking about. Which direction is this going to take? Are you going to have story-driven party members, or are you going to have generic party members? Is it going to be a class-based Dragon Quest,
Who
or
knows?
not
Who knows?
a class-based Dragon Quest?
The rumor is saying it's part of the delay is because they're focusing on an open world Dragon. Did you know that they were toying with that idea with 11, but they dropped it. So it'd be interesting if it's an open world type thing. So maybe if that's the case, and it's more focused on exploring. And,
Yeah, but that
traversing. Maybe
people
that
tell
won't be
me
story
that.
driven.
People tell me that, but if you go all the way back to the original Dragon Quest, that was open world.
Yeah, it was.
You could
right?
go.
Yeah, if
you
think
could.
about it, you're right.
You could go anywhere you wanted. The way they stopped you was with monsters that were like 50 levels higher. Well, obviously,
Yeah,
not
because they
50,
really didn't
but-
have zoning back then. I mean, you'd zone into the caves, but that was pretty instant. Yeah, you're right. But they're talking about where where you load into zones.
No,
and stuff
I
like that
know.
and city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
I know
Seamless
exactly.
Open world.
But I think
Seamless.
those are the things, right? Like that you gotta look at, right? Because like 3 introduced like jobs or vocations. 4 went back to So wait a second. It's 3, 6, 7. Because 5 doesn't either, right? Wait a second. Now this is gonna bug me. Which Dragon Quest games have vocations? Okay, so yeah, I was right. 3, 6, 7, 9, and 10. So there you go.
10, the greatest Dragon Quest ever, right? Jared, you still play to this day.
Yeah, well, it's a never-ending Dragon Quest game. So I'm
Yeah,
curious.
too bad that never came here, man. But
I'm
it's
curious
too
to
late.
see. I'm curious to see what the tie-in will be. They always do tie-ins for their, that's why I was buying always the Japanese versions too. One of the reasons is because there was always like an in-game code for 10, which was
that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, it's like Blizzard always does that, right? Every
Oh, yeah,
new
yeah, they
Blizzard
do. Oh,
game,
thinking
you
of
get
which,
something.
We haven't almost forgot the Warcraft Direct came out, and there's getting
yeah.
remasters of Warcraft games.
Yeah.
No redoing, and it's good. They're gonna be for free and stuff like that, which is interesting. They're not gonna redo the cutscenes or anything like that. But if you guys all know, the Warcraft 3 remake was a complete and utter disaster for the company because they promised the world and did minimal minimal stuff. So yeah, a lot of people are very upset at that. But now they're going to be free, so excuse me, you can't complain for free, right?
Yep.
So yeah, the Warcraft did that. Looks like WoW is going to be good. Warcraft Rumble, which is a mobile game, is getting on December 10th. The open beta for the PC client. Finally, we're going to get that for PC because you guys, Warcraft Rumble hasn't really been much of a commercial success, and a couple of reasons. One, for a mobile game, it's kind of grindy, which most mobile games are, I guess. But it's most of Blizzard user base fanboys are not mobile gamers; they're hardcore, dedicated PC gamers. So even at BlizzCon, Blizzard said there was really no interest for Warcraft Rumble. So maybe bringing a PC client will revamp it or rejuvenate the game, and it'll be here for some time because it's actually a fun tower defense game, guys. If you ever want to check it out, or just wait for December 10th, which is a little less than a month away, if you want to get it on BattleNet and stuff like that. Thinking of BattleNet client, Microsoft said that's going away, but I wonder when though. They want a unified.
I remember they were.
They're probably in no rush right now. They got other stuff to do, but they do want a unified launcher, which makes sense, right? Why have multiple? Because they do now. They have their main Xbox, and so yeah, eventually after all these years, guys, BattleNet will go away. And that's kind of good because BattleNet's kind of always been it's never been the best at what it does, and I don't really care. It's as long as your content and all that, like WoW and all your other games that are on BNet transfers over seamlessly, you don't lose anything, you should be good. That's probably maybe part of the challenge too, Jared, is just, hey, how do we get all that over to here without losing stuff and not messing it up? Because a lot of companies lately have been dropping the ball, but Microsoft's a huge tech company, so they have tons of resources to work with, so they'll probably take their time, hopefully, and not drop the ball, because right now Blizzard's kind of not in a good place rep wise, so they don't need another blunder, another big flop to hurt their already dampened or weakened condition right now anyway. So who would ever known that Blizzard became a shell of the company that it was once, right?
Yeah,
one
but that
time
happens.
they literally, it happens.
It happens to literally all of them, pretty much. But
because they lose control because they sold out. They sold
the
company more than once. Pretty much all the original people, the founding people, are gone. I think one guy came back, Chris, what's his name? But most of them are gone. So that influx of influence or whatever back in the day is gone. Some of the original developers for StarCraft made their own company, and that game that they made, it hasn't been doing that great. So I don't know, man. You can never what's it called? Recapture the genie in the bottle, or something.
Exactly. Exactly. And same thing as like capture lightning in a bottle and all of that. Yeah, you can't. Like you can hard. You do it once and that's it. And I just looked at the time. We're good, man.
Oh yeah, we're good. I think let us know in the comments, especially all the Game Pass awesome stuff coming up. Can't wait to play Flight Simulator and Stalker 2. Hopefully Jared will get some time to play at least one of them, because the Flight Simulator is just something
No chance.
Oh jeez, Jared, that's so disappointing.
You need to stop buying everything under the sun. Play.
It's included. What are you talking about? It's included in my service. Okay, I'm not buying anything.
Go play Dragon Quest and then we can talk.
All right, man. All right, guys.
All right, everyone. Take care.
Take care. Bye.